Meanwhile, Reform UK's 5 MPs entered the House of Commons for the first time today. The infamous 5, with their leader, Nigel Farage, adding his congratulations to Sir Lindsay Hoyle, whilst laying into his predecessor.
We are the new kids on the block. We have no experience in this Parliament whatsoever, even though some of us have tried many times over the years previously to get here. So we can't judge you from working in this place, but we can judge you from the way the outside world sees you. And I don't just mean the United Kingdom, I mean the world, because Prime Minister's Questions time is global box office politics, and it's pretty clear to everybody that you act with great neutrality, that you have brought tremendous dignity to the role as Speaker, so we absolutely endorse you entirely for this job. And it is, I must say, in marked contrast to the little man that was there before you and besmirched the office so dreadfully in doing his best to overturn the biggest democratic result in the history of the country.
Well, day one and Nigel Farage is banging on about Brexit. You'd expect no less. And I'm joined in the studio now by GB News' political reporter Olivia Utley, and 2 of Reform UK's MPs, Lee Anderson, the MP for Ashfield, and James McMurdoch, the new MP for South Basildon and East Thurrock. Let's start with you, chaps. Well done. You made it into the House of Parliament. You for the second time. Lee, you put a message out this morning. The fox is in the hen house. What mayhem do you hope to achieve?
Well, this is probably, Martin, the biggest thing that not just the Labour Party, but the Conservative Party feared is Reform UK getting a few MPs in the House. We've exceeded expectations, I think, and they know now that we've got probably over 4 million people voted us at the last election. Probably a few million more that actually agree with us, that they didn't quite have, the courage to vote for us because they were scared of a Starmer government. But they know the People's Army's on the march. They know we're coming for them, and they're terrified because I tell you what, we've come in now to London today, or yesterday, with bags of common sense, and they fear that.
James, could I ask you, for your surprise election, you were the 5th MP to be elected for the Reform Party, went to a recount, you scraped by 98 votes, and it probably came as a huge surprise to you. You were a paper candidate as such, you didn't particularly campaign hard, you were surprised. In fact, I heard you hadn't even resigned from your job. Have you done so yet?
I have, yeah. I resigned yesterday, actually.
So how does it feel to be an MP? I mean, this is a kind of... You come from nowhere and you're now one of the infamous 5. You've got a big task ahead of you.
From all the way from rock bottom all the way to the absolute ceiling, the emotions have been phenomenal and fantastic. I mean, there's some analogies that I'd really love to use, but I don't know if they're too whimsical, given how serious the work we do is. But it has been extraordinary, and I really, really feel quite empowered to get on with it. There's some really good people in my constituency that are desperate for this, so it's fantastic.
I mean, you talk about getting on with it, desperate to act as quickly as possible. But, there's only 5 of you in the House of Commons. What really can you do apart from, make some pops at John Bercow like Nigel Farage did today?
Be a blooming big pest if that's all we can be, but hopefully a lot more.
It's not just 5 people, though, is it, Olivia? There's over 4.1 million people in the country that's right behind us. That's about 800,000 people per MP. There's millions more that could have voted for us, that probably will vote for us in the next election. We are the voice of the silent majority in this country. Make no mistake about it. The People's Army is on the march, and we're at the front line, and we're going to fight for everything they stand for.
Do you think Suella Braverman might be joining the People's Army at any time soon?
I wouldn't have thought so. I wouldn't have thought so, Olivia. She's, Suella's a good friend of mine. I know she's got probably. You've got to be a fool not to know she's got leadership ambitions for the Conservative Party. Let her get on with that. But like I say, I've got the massive amount of respect for Suella. And the Conservative Party have got a big decision to make in the next few months. They've got to decide who their next leader is. Do they go for one of the wets and have more of the same and completely destroy the Conservative Party? Or do they pick a sensible Conservative like a Suella or a Rob Jenrick or a Priti Patel and hopefully make some gains?
What would you really like to see happen in that Conservative leadership contest? Because obviously if they do go with one of the Tory wets, as you call them, then Reform gets a lot more power.
I'd like to see something like Tom Tugendhat get it, and then I can go and order that new kitchen that I want for my house.
But then you have a very left-wing parliament. Is that something
that would be happening? That opens opens the door then for the Reform supporters, voters at the next election to come and vote for us. Because I tell you what, this is a critical moment now for the Conservative Party. If they recruit a wet, somebody like Tom or somebody like that, who if they do that, then they're toast. Absolute toast.
What about the party hierarchy? Nigel's obviously been a great experience in the European Parliament, but first time, 8 times trying, he got in. You've had more experience. Are you going to take some sort of senior role in the party?
Well, Nigel's made me the chief whip of the party, which I wasn't very happy about at the time. But I do realise, Martin, that I probably have got more experience in the House of Commons. Not more experience in politics, but we've got new people. It's like James today. It's his first day in there. It's a bit daunting, isn't it, James? You know, seeing all these new people, you're getting lost. There's 1,000 rooms on the estate. There's 3,000 people work on the estate. It's a big deal, Martin, so they need a little bit of guidance, a bit of help, and I'm there to do that.
So what do you realistically expect to achieve? I mean, you say you represent the silent majority, but 5 seats, proportional representation is something that Nigel talks a lot about changing the voting system, but it's unlikely to happen anytime soon. Turkeys aren't going to vote for Christmas. The first past the post system protects those in power. They won't vote to change that. Yeah,
and what a shame that is, because every other message I get right now is from typical people that just can't understand how 4 million people could vote for us and we only get 5 seats. Yeah. It just doesn't seem very in line with actually what people want.
Oh. What you good?
Oh, the Reform Party ran quite a sort of chaotic campaign, understandably, I suppose, given that you didn't have very much time to get yourselves together before the election. Nigel Farage has talked about professionalising the party. What does that actually mean? Because there really were quite a few bad apples by the sound of it.
Well, it means, Olivia, it means a proper structure in place, and that starts locally. We've got to get proper branches in place. We've got county council elections next year. We need proper branches where you've got a treasurer, you've got a secretary, you've got a selection committee, you've got a treasurer, who can raise local funds to make sure you fund the council candidates. We're a start-up party. It's very, very difficult. And what we've done over the last week is absolutely phenomenal. We've got 5 MPs. We've got donors sniffing around now. We've got supporters coming out in there, literally in there, hundreds of thousands. And I tell you what, if the Tory party don't get their act together, which I don't think they will, I think it's impossible, they're toast.
Now, the Conservatives failed on the immigration point. The Labour Party have got into bat today, and the boats continue to arrive. Over 300 arrived today, 6 dinghies. No sign anytime soon of there being a grip on that. Is that a wedge point, a pressure point that you think Reform UK will continue to make a load of noise about inside Parliament?
Well, I think we have to, because there are people at home that are deeply concerned about it. Not everyone understands the deep details going on this. They just know that there's potentially a concern there that isn't being addressed. And if you're at home, you've got a young family, and you're seeing this on the news, you've got every reason to be worried about it.
And is that what people were telling you during the campaign? I know, Ashfield, myself, I stood against you
you did.
Before, but in your seat, people were telling you, was that the message? It just felt unfair. And did they feel the Conservatives weren't listening?
It just feels like no action's being taken. You can only be told that there's a problem so many times and tolerate nothing being done about it.
Yeah. So, I mean, presumably the Reform Party wants to get out of the European Court of Human Rights. Can you just explain in a little bit more detail what your if you could divine Keir Starmer's immigration plan, what exactly would it be? Would you bring back the Rwanda plan?
He's not got one, has he? He's not got an immigration plan. He keeps piping on in the Commons and on the media and saying to anybody that will actually listen to him, we're going to smash the gangs. Nobody can tell me anywhere on this planet, Martin, what smash the gangs actually means. He hasn't got a clue.
So what would you want it to be?
I wanted to send the illegal migrants back the same day. Turn them around the channel, send them back to France. That's it. They've done it in other countries. We can do it here. We like political will and we like political courage. That place over there is an absolute disgrace.
Rishi Sunak sent a lot of money to France to try and get them to do exactly that. It didn't seem to work.
It's weak leadership, Olivia. It's weak leadership. If people are invading our country, which they are, pick them up in the Channel, rescue them in the Channel and send them straight back to France. If we did that, they would stop coming.
Can I ask you about Tony Blair? His name is in the news again today. Only 2 days into this week's Parliament, he's already been advising on bringing back ID cards. He's already been advising on £150 billion worth of tax rises. Already been saying we need more AI. seems to have his fingerprints all over the new Labour Party. Do you think Tony Blair is still in some way controlling this country?
Who's to say? I mean, I certainly don't have enough information to answer that accurately. I certainly hope not. He's not been elected.
Yeah, he needs to keep his nose out, Martin. I mean, we've seen the damage Tony Blair did in the early noughties, took us into an illegal war. He's a political parasite. He needs to keep his nose out. Multi-millionaire, making millions and millions of pounds. Obviously got a vested interest in politics in this moment in time. Look, Tony, you've had your day. Clear off, let the new boys on the block, the infamous five, you say, shape the future of this country.
Superb stuff. Thanks for joining us in the studio. Lee Anderson, the MP for Ashfield, and James McMurdoch, the new MP for the Reform Party UK for South Basildon and East Thurrock, and of course to Olivia Utley. Thank you very much. Great stuff.